The early Dalek comics contain some of the wackiest Dalek adventures in Doctor Who's history, and there is no shortage of bizarre scenarios and fearsome opponents for the Daleks to contend with. In this video, we will cover 3 more interesting threats that the Daleks faced in the early comics. Number 1. Sultan Humans. The humanoid species that inhabited Solturis became an early victim of Dalek conquest, when the Dalek Emperor ended 100 years of peace on the planet by launching an invasion, which had been foretold by seers on the planet. However, the planet's leader, Redlin, instead adopted a wait-and-see approach, insisting that there was every chance that the Daleks were friendly. To make matters worse, Redlin was betrayed by his nobleman Geltis, who wanted to use the Dalek invasion to further his own power. Geltis murdered his own cousin, the seer who had predicted the Daleks' arrival, and offered the Daleks the key to the Penta-Ray, a deadly weapon that the Solturians had as a deterrent against hostile attack. The son of the Solturian leader, Jareth, and Merva, granddaughter of the seer, were eventually successful in derailing Geltis' plans, and the Dalek attack force was ultimately called away from Solturis by an urgent rust plague emergency on Skara, preventing them from conquering the planet entirely. By the time the Daleks returned, the Solturians had prepared their Penta-Ray, forcing the Daleks to postpone their invasion plans while seeking out weaker targets. Number 2. The Mechanoids. After rebuilding their city following an attack from the Monstrons and a recent outbreak of the Rust Plague, the Daleks later encountered the Mechanoids after attempting to build a space station to supply their invasion of the planet Auric, which attracted their attention. The Mechanoids initially attacked the Daleks using a suspicion ray, remaining cloaked and hidden while the target Dalek went insane and began attacking other Daleks, believing them to be enemies. This Dalek was captured, and the Red Dalek was later dispatched to investigate, but its saucer was destroyed by the Mechanoids, who issued a warning to the Daleks to stay out of their space. The Emperor, however, managed to extract information about the Mechanoids from the insane Dalek, and ordered the construction of new weapons and defences to combat them. A war between the Daleks and the Mechanoids seemed imminent, which caused much distress on the planet Zeros, which would likely be caught in the crossfire of this war. In response, the people of Zeros created a robot called 2K, and tasked it with de-escalating the Mechanoid-Dalek conflict. Through a bizarre series of circumstances, 2K was able to lure a Dalek missile to Mechanus, while simultaneously placing a rogue planet in its path, and was then able to use the subsequent destruction of the rogue planet to trick the Mechanoids into believing the Daleks had saved them. The Mechanoids, rather than launching an invasion into Dalek space, instead prioritised defensive strategies, which prevented an outbreak of full-scale war for the time being. Number 3. Surviving Dals. At one point in Dalek history, 3 Dals, early humanoid Daleks who had been held in suspended animation since the neutronic war with the Thals, were awakened, and were initially impressed by their descendants, who they dubbed Metal Daleks, until they realised that these Daleks were cruel, sadistic killers. The Dals refused to help the Daleks, and in response, the Daleks exterminated them. As tragic as it was that the last 3 survivors of the Dal species were so callously murdered, their deaths did ensure that the secret of Earth's location died with them. Before the war, the Dals had been teachers and philosophers, and one of the 3 survivors had previously discovered Earth's location via astronomy. Had the Daleks maintained a ruse and tricked the Dals into helping them, they might have learned of Earth's location much earlier and destroyed humanity. Which of these 3 threats faced by the Daleks in their early history is your favourite? Do you think we'll see the Solturians, Mechanoids or Dals appear in a future Doctor Who story? Let me know in the comments below.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to
Dalek Bumps.